Beautiful. Excellent. So I hope you have your coffee in hand, ready to go.
Yes, thank
Oh,
you.
wonderful. I see a good friend Gita who just sent a note out. Hi, this is like a blast from the past for me. So good to see you here. How is everyone doing today?
Well, it's sunny and a little rainy in BC here, but
Yeah,
still a beautiful morning.
there we go. We were just talking about that with the CERIC team, that with the rain, some people were like, I think I'm going to work from home today. So, yeah.
We're happy with the rain. We need it. Things are a little dry.
There we go. Yes, absolutely. Excellent. So we're going to give it like a couple more minutes because quite a few people are coming in a rush. And oh, Carly, good morning. Great to see you. And the sun is out in PEI. I love it. Just as we're about to get started, I was going to say that if you have your phone or you want to open another browser on your computer, we're going to make it interactive today. So we're using menti.com. You'll probably see on the screen up top. If you can go onto your phone or onto your browser and just sign on, we can get that out of the way so you're ready to go before we start. Holly Fogg is rolling in Halifax. Okay. And Jessica from Peterborough. Hello, so great to see you. We see my Toronto friends, Kelowna. I love that we're having this national conversation across Canada. It's amazing. Okay. So it's 12:02. Let's get started, and as people join in, they can join our fun. We have 1 hour today with you, and I'm so excited to do this with you. This is an opportunity for us to create a national dialogue and learn from each other. So I'm excited to be guiding you through the conversation today. But as we do, really, the gold that we're going to get from this is from each other. So I'm hoping that everybody's here and ready to participate, be inspired by your fellow career development professionals. We're going to have a great time. And so as people come in, let's just get started right away. There's my profile picture. You probably have seen that in a couple of other places, but I'm just going to introduce myself very quickly. My name is Keka DasGupta. So if you think of cake with an A at the end, it's easy to remember, Keka. I've been working in the marketing and PR profession for 25 years, and then I feel like the career development sector has adopted me. I joined CERIC quite a few years ago in their advocacy committee, and now today I'm serving as vice chair on the board of directors. I've always believed that, we want to be able to bring the best of ourselves into work. And when you get up in the morning, if you are excited to do the work that you want to do, then you're one of the lucky ones. But I think we could all potentially be lucky. And I think that in all of your roles, you do so much to help people across Canada. So it's such a pleasure for me to be here and moderating this session with you. I'm going to start with a land acknowledgement. So we acknowledge that CERIC's office and the staff in Toronto are situated in the traditional lands of the Huron-Wendat, Petun, Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Mississauga Anishinaabe of New Credit. We also want to recognize that you're joining us today from many different places near and far, and that we acknowledge the traditional caretakers of these lands. Okay, as we move forward, if you joined our call and you don't know what CERIC is, that might be a little bit surprising, but if I could just take a moment to share a little bit. CERIC, as you know, obviously, is a charitable organization, and we advance education, research, and advocacy in career counseling and development. And that advocacy role is something that we take a lot of pride and passion in. It's one of the core pillars of CERIC. So for us, in all the work that we're doing, including this session today and including the Meet the Moment resource we've created, our goal is to raise visibility and profile and the impact of career development professionals as a field generally. So we want to be able to represent your collective voices. And that's why we're so happy that you're here, because this is an exchange and a dialogue that we do together, and it directly contributes to why CERIC is here and why we're doing the work that we do. Okay, so if you haven't had a chance yet to do this, I would say take a moment and download the Meet the Moment resource. If you go to ceric.ca/meet the moment, you'll see this is a PDF document. And that's what we're really here to talk about, is how we can leverage this. So if I can share a little bit of background behind how we got to this point. As in our advocacy work, we were looking at how so many career development professionals from across the country are doing incredible things, sometimes doing it on their own, sometimes within an organization or an institution, sometimes within government. But when in uncertain times that we're facing today, with tariffs, with economic uncertainty, with AI coming in and disrupting everything that we do, career development work has never been more important. We also recognize too that, everything that our collective field does, so many of you are crisis responders. When someone's in crisis and they need support career development wise, you are there to support them. But also, so much of our career development work is long-term. We're your long-term partners. So it felt like this was the opportunity for us as a sector, for career development professionals to meet this moment and really build common language, the shared language that we can use in all of our communications with our interest holders, stakeholders, our audiences that we serve, to really talk about how the work we do impacts the public for societal good, how we really make a difference in the lives of Canadians, and how we're leading the pack globally in many ways. So this 2-page PDF, if you haven't downloaded it yet, this is the link to get it. The goal here is to be able to take these messages, use them in communicating in all of the various capacities that you might have. So the reason this webinar, specifically this event, came up was that when we started to talk as a group, we said, you know, I might be sitting here at my computer and I might open this PDF and see these messages and go, this is great, but how do I apply it? How do I use it in my work to be able to build this value? How do I contribute to this common language? So we thought, what better way than to bring people together across Canada and let's brainstorm this together. Let's look at the ways that each of us could find opportunities to advocate for the work we do and show that value. And then if we do that together and we share with each other, we're going to learn more. So that's the whole point for today. Okay. Just a couple of quick points of note. If you haven't done it already, make sure you're joining menti.com. You'll see the vote code over there. We're going to do some breakout rooms in Zoom as well. If you're familiar with the breakout rooms, we have our rock star Rachel from the CERIC team who is on the back end, who's making everything look so good and so smooth. And so if you haven't done breakout rooms before, don't worry. Just wait for the prompts to come onto your screen. Rachel is taking care of everything. But we're going to have an opportunity to meet in groups to be able to chat and then come back and share in terms of larger opportunities. And then we're also going to use Menti so that we have some real-time sharing of information. And from time to time throughout this period, I'm going to ask you to go onto the Zoom chat and share some of your thoughts as well. So those are the 3 ways in which we're going to be participating and making this interactive. All right, we've got over 100 people joining us here. This is so exciting. So let's get started. Let's warm up a little bit. We wanted to ask you this one question. It's on Menti. So if you go onto menti.com on your phone or on your computer, this is the question we're asking. What message best captures the value that you aim to communicate in your work? And we've given you a multiple choice. We're sort of warming everything up. Now, all of these answers have a rightful place in some way, but we want you to pick the one that you think is the most important. If you were to rate or rank these, what would be your top choices? So let's take a minute and let everybody answer, and we'll see kind of where we net out from here. Look at that. So I love how we're seeing this in real time. Empowering next steps. That's a big one. Career growth at all stages. Strengthening careers and opportunities is also important. Trusted expertise, a really important one. And navigating uncertainty. But empowerment, so empowering next steps seems to be a really big one. And that's such a critical role, right? It's so important. So we really love that. And just a quick note and for everybody here that we're recording this session today and we will be sending out summary notes and the recordings. The specific breakout room discussions aren't recorded, but because we're making this interactive and we're capturing some of this in the summary notes, you're going to get all of this. So you'll be able to take a look at this afterwards. And we will have a survey just after this event that we're asking you to fill out so that we can continue to get you some more information and summaries as we go. Great. And Jessica, thank you for sharing the Meet the Moment here as well. That's perfect. Appreciate that. Okay, so let's just move into the Zoom chat. So let's just go into your chat box here. One question I would ask for you here is, if you had to choose one word to describe what you believe Canada's career narrative should be, what would you say that is? Peggy, I can see you can't download it. Okay, we're going to figure this out. You can always download it directly from the CERIC website if there's any problems. So we'll look at that afterwards. Tamara, you said resilience. Joy said growth. I see adaptability, hopeful, progressive, empowerment again, optimism. So important for us to feel that right now. Evolving, expansion. I love this. Vital, hope, open, community, passion. That's one thing I have to say that, every single day in all of the work I do with CERIC, I just feel your passion in the work that we do. It's so brilliant. Possibilities, being inclusive, safety, cross-cultural communication. This is fantastic. Transferable skills, so important for today. Limitless, adaptability, fantastic. So we can see a lot of common values coming in with these one words, right? Limitless in terms of open possibilities. Skills for sure, with everything that's happening in AI that can change. Transformation, transferable skills and adaptability. I love it. Okay, excellent. Thank you, everybody. Social perception, really great answers. So appreciate your participation. Okay, perfect. So just as the next step, what we're going to do is jump into the breakout rooms. So Rachel very shortly is going to send you into breakout rooms. We're going to have groups of 6. These are randomly chosen. What we're going to ask you to do in the group at first is assign 2 roles. So we want one person to be the note taker who is going to take the ideas that your group is connecting with and putting it in the mentee question, and I'll explain that in a moment. And then one person who volunteers to be the spokesperson. So when we come back together as a group and we have a chance to regroup and learn from each other, that you have one designated spokesperson from your group who volunteers to talk about what you discovered in the chat. And sometimes in groups, I know we've got either shy people or people that are really enthusiastic. If you're having trouble finding and designating some people, what we were going to suggest is whoever's names start earliest in the alphabet, take the positions as note taker first and then spokesperson. And I know all of those people who are with names with A are like, darn, Keka, why did you do that? And the Zacharies of the world might be like, but it just gives us a little bit of guideline if you want to use that. For the note taker itself, when you go into Menti, what you're going to see is it's an open-ended option. So there's thought bubbles that you can fill out. So for every idea you have, and you can see this as an example, we want you to identify the interest holder first, or the audience that you'd be speaking to. So put the name of the audience or the interest holder first, dash, and then give us your idea. So, how are you already planning to use, or already using or planning to use the meet the moment messaging in your work? Here's an example. So we're talking to job seekers specifically. We're going to use that, and we're going to say using messaging to help clients reframe uncertainty and opportunity and build career resilience. So in whatever answers you're doing, we're asking you to keep it as one thought per bubble and one audience per bubble. So what the beautiful part about this is we're doing it in the breakout rooms, and when we come back, we'll have a long list we can upvote and we can check out and share together. Anybody have any questions just before we start? You can either unmute or put it in the chat box if you've got any questions. The other thing I was going to say is that once you're in the breakout room, if for any reason you're experiencing any technical difficulties, you can go into the chat box and just direct message Rachel from CERIC, Rachel So, and she will take care of you. She is such a technical whiz. It is amazing working with her. So we will make sure that you are all taken care of. Manal, I think you've raised your hand, right?
Yes, yeah. Thank you, Keka. So just a quick question. I already have this question here, breakout example. Are we answering it now for practice or no?
No, you're not answering for practice
Okay.
now. We're going to go into the breakout rooms. You'll be sharing and talking to each other. And as those ideas come up, one person from your group who's the note taker will put those into the thought bubbles into Menti.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Great. All right, so we've got 15 minutes to do this, and then we will come back. I'm excited to hear where our discussions go. So Rachel is going to work her magic now and send you to your breakout rooms. Really great. So coming back from the breakout rooms, I can see that we've got some really great thought bubbles here. Wanted to ask everyone if you wanted to take a moment and just upvote a few of the meet the moment thought bubbles that you think resonate the most. So everybody can do this now. You can go onto the menti.com survey, and can you take a moment just to upvote anything that you're seeing? I see upvoting in progress here. And if there's something exceptionally good that you really want to make sure we're speaking about in our group chat right now, can you also put that into our Zoom chat? I'd love to kind of see that. So once you've upvoted, if there's something specific you'd love to have us talk about, just share it in the chat for us, please. And then we'll ask our spokespeople from our groups to be ready to share some thoughts. If there's anybody also that just wants to share something that they've had a conversation with, you can just raise your hand in the Zoom chat, and we'll try to get to as many people as we can with the time that we have. It's great, Rachel. I see people still joining us, which is wonderful. Okay, so while a few people are still voting, can I ask, so I see Chantal, you've raised your hand. Let's start with you. Just share with us some of your thoughts if you'd like. The floor is yours.
Well, we kind of slipped into discussion a little bit around mental health and how much lay counseling we are all doing now and how that has increased and the effect of it, not just with our job seekers, but the employers and ourselves. And my field is people with developmental disabilities, so it was very different from the other ladies that I joined. But we all found that theme running rampant throughout all of our clients and employers and such, that mental health is a huge piece now, and it comes in the office almost with every person.
Right. This is such an insightful point, Chantal, because when we're speaking to government policymakers, any decision makers that are looking at where to put resources and funding, none of this work is done in silo on its own, sort of, job seeking, placement, none of this. So mental health is such a critical undercurrent, as you're saying, right, that affects everything. So that needs to be part of the conversation. And when we look at the Meet the Moment key messages when it comes to trusted expertise in a changing world, obviously there's fear, there's challenges around mental health. So many people who have been in this profession have gone through the waves, the ups and downs. They're the ones that are helping so many people. There's so much learning that we can share from that. So these are messages that'll be really important, right, that we bring in. Thank you so much for sharing. Okay, I see two other people who've raised their hands. I'm sorry if I don't know if I'm going in order, but I see Sienna top of the list on my list. So Sienna, the floor is yours. Please share.
It's Shauna, and hello.
My
Our
apologies.
group didn't have a chance to put bubbles in, but one of the bubbles that I don't see represented is the CDP student bubble, and using this as a tool for students and educators around how to help them see their role within the public and how to communicate their role to people as they enter the career, and as educators help students understand their role in the field.
That is such a great point, Shauna. It's so true. Especially students coming into this, how do we get them inspired and passionate and recognize how they can communicate the value of the work that they're doing, how they can contribute to it from an educator perspective as well, looking at the impact that their work is having. So I really love that. That's really great.
Thank you.
Thank you. Maria, I see your hand up as well. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so I don't have the notes because I wasn't the note taker, so forgive me because I might not be directly relaying everything we talked about. But we did, all of us are doing very different work, but all client facing. And whether that's client facing with students, but also kind of like employer, relations or managing employer relations as well. And one of the things on the sheet that we talked about was championing decent work, not just any work. So one of the people in our team mentioned working with a lot of international students. And of course, when international students come, they're looking for work, whether that be because they have financial responsibilities, or they want to maybe more quickly integrate the Canadian labor market, job market. But the issue is that in kind of a search, especially with the market being what it is now, it's, a much harder to find a job. In the search for looking for something, they'll kind of apply everywhere. And this is obviously not only limited to international students. A lot of people tend to do this, but and so how that can be kind of frustrating for employers, because it's kind of, I guess, ends up being like a very generic resume or cover letter. And so we were just one of the things we were talking about was like how we can get students to better see, or maybe not even students, but just people who are international, how to kind of like better like their value proposition, how to better kind of effectively sell themselves to employers, and how to have that conversation with employers where they're really sure about what they're applying for, and kind of showing their interest with that specific employer and that particular position. So that was one thing that we talked about, among other things. But yeah, I'll leave the floor to others.
Yeah, no, and appreciate that, Maria. I think this is an important insight you're bringing to the table is that we can have collective impact when we start to look at how to help people see the culture of work and the culture of recruitment and how we hire, how we seek jobs. There's opportunities for change and improvement in that, and our collective voices matter there. So every individual voice makes a difference, but when we can speak around it collectively, that makes a bigger impact. I find it also very interesting that, so often if we want to show the impact we're talking about, I don't know if you agree with this. Maybe give me an exclamation mark if you agree with this point in the chat. It's harder for us to brag about our work that we do individually to a funder, to a decision maker, to our stakeholders, interest holders. It's hard to be like, well, this is the great work that I do and this is the impact I'm having. But if we take that same work and we create a collective voice and say, I'm part of the career development professionals sector, and as a sector, we help navigate uncertainty and help build confidence. So as a sector, we look at economic safety and we bring that into uncertain times. As a sector, we empower people to share, to shape what's next. It's so much easier to speak about the benefits we have collectively than it is just to kind of brag about ourselves individually, right? So if we have that kind of, shared language, it makes it even more important. So really appreciate that. Darcy, I see your hand up. We've got about 4 minutes before we move on to our next group activity. So Darcy, the floor is yours.
Sure, I'll make it very quick as well. Just one of the things we really focused on, we had amongst us, we were working amongst post-secondary within the nonprofit and independent employment services as well. And one of the key things we kept coming back to was that sense of empowerment and really helping, whether it's students or the general population, understand, first of all, what it is that we do, and that real value in the human connection of really being there, the sense of accompaniment, the chance to just share, to brainstorm, to see that sense of possibility, coming back to also dealing with that sense of grief or loss as people are losing their jobs. So a lot of just that sort of human connection, which I think speaks to a lot of the things, whether that's the safety net, the trusted expertise, or just navigating uncertainty. And so that was just sort of a key theme amongst our talk. So.
Absolutely. Yeah, I feel like, we need to highlight the value of having that trusted voice, being there, listening, guiding people so they don't feel alone. There's so much around the psychology of where people are when they're in this kind of moment of uncertainty and transition. And we can't underestimate the value of having career development professionals there to support them. So I really love that point. Thank you so much. Okay, perfect. Rachel has just mentioned in the chat box here that if you weren't able to share, please feel free to continue adding your thoughts to the page. So I know sometimes a really great conversation takes precedence over taking some notes, but you can always continue to add to this page, which we love. Okay, is there anybody else? I just want to make sure I haven't missed anyone else's hands. I don't think so. I think we are great. I think the key thing here that stood out for me was when we look at the different audiences, we as a group here today have come from many different parts of the sector. Some people are coming from government, some people are coming from academic institutions, nonprofits, some are working as individuals in career development coaching and whatnot, but all of us have a common element and common impact that we're sharing. And I really kind of feel like that's showing up in the answers here. So this is really great. Excellent. Okay, so let's keep going. What we're going to do is now do a second breakout group. You're going to go back into the same groups that you were in before. And what we're going to do is ask you this question. We asked you initially how you, or specifically your organization, might be using this Meet the Moment resource. Now let's look at the conversation from a collective standpoint. For CERIC, advocacy is so important. We want to be that voice for your sector and represent you and advocate for you, but your voices matter in that too. So what ideas do you have for advancing these messages of how we're benefiting Canadian society and global-minded individuals? What messages can we share collectively as a field or as a network? And are there any gaps or maybe potential opportunities you see that we should be taking advantage of? So in here, what we would do is same thing, have a note taker. We won't need a spokesperson because we're trying to get as much done in the hour that we can. So we're going to just do the sharing in our groups and then we'll share the findings afterwards. So we want you to have a really good, robust discussion in your breakout groups and share any ideas you have in the thought bubbles. And in about 10 minutes, we will come back and start wrapping up with some key thoughts. So this is, again, think about collectively as a sector, as a network, what are the ways that we can really advance these messages, and are there opportunities or gaps that you see that we should address? So Rachel, you're going to take us in, I think, into the breakout groups next. Yeah, so great to have everybody coming back from the break room. Hope that was some really robust conversation that everybody had. I would love if there was something that specifically stood out for you in your conversation. Just put a quick note into the chat box here in Zoom. I'd love to be able to take a look. But I think that when we're looking at these thought bubbles and the responses you've had, and we're going to share this with everybody sort of post session, a few things that kind of stand out for me as we're looking at these is, first of all, making sure that we use this messaging everywhere. So, you know, when you're posting on social media and you might be like, what should I talk about? What could I say today that might be important? Pull from some of these meet the moment messaging in terms of how career development can provide some economic safety in uncertain times. And how do we do that? We could talk about how you are part of a sector that has trusted expertise in a changing world. And what does that mean? How does your experience relate to that? So many of us in this sector help people in critical moments navigating uncertainty. What are some of the tips you can offer? You know, so much of us have a lot of great information that feels like this is just normal and doesn't everybody know it, but it's your expertise and it's very valuable for people. So using these messages on social media, sharing it in meetings, talking to your employers, talking to other sector professionals, there's lots of opportunity to make sure that we're having this collective language and collective voice. And, you know, if we don't brag about the importance of what we do, and I know that sometimes people can think that's egotistical, but if we don't brag about it, if we don't sell it back to people, others just won't know about it. We live in such a busy world. Everyone's overwhelmed with messages all the time. So having that consistent language hitting the public around the board that talks about how career development professionals create stronger careers, but also how they strengthen communities is such a critical piece. Okay, I love this. I'm getting answers in the chat box here. Communicating with high school career educators about our role, such a critical thing. Shauna, I love that. Chantel, you talked about spreading the word. Start locally and baby steps. Oh, this is so important. We can't underestimate that. Great insight, Chantel. Start with baby steps about how to be recognized and share what we do. Shelley, you were talking about communicating our messages to politicians, which is critical. So important as they're looking at how we're going to shape our future of work with AI and all these economic uncertainties. This is the time for them to see exactly what we do. I just saw Stacy, more face-to-face communication with employers is critical. Minal, you talked about processes, platforms, databases in place that capture the messaging with clients. I really love that. Maria, you talked about sharing success stories. This is so important. We really need to share these success stories so we can inspire other people, help them learn, and increase visibility of our organizations in the community. Love that. Amazing. Oh, this is so wonderful. I really appreciate that. And then Tanya, I see building collective visions and engagement with employers and job seekers, startups, learning organizations. Stacy, you were saying to job users using social media and LinkedIn, yeah, to get their message across. Excellent. Okay, so as we move on, we've got about 6 minutes left. Wanted to ask you if you could go into this is just sort of like a closing reflection as we close off the hour. This is our final prompt for you in the chat box. What I would love for you to do is think about what is the one action that you're going to take. We've given you a month, but really what we want you to say is, what am I going to do today? What am I going to do tomorrow? What will I do next week? But what is the one action you're going to take based on today's discussion? What's the one thing that you can do? And the goal behind this is if you can share this in the chat box, our amazing CERIC team, we're going to capture some of these ideas and then we'll share it back to everybody who's been part of this. So you can take one action today and then you're going to get a whole bunch of ideas from all of your peers on this call of all the actions you can continue to take to continue building the value for everything that we do. So please do share. I see this here. Shauna, thank you for your kind words. One action is share with my instructional team. I love that. Jessica said, share with my ES team. Share meet the moment document with our staff. So critical, right? This particular document is good for top level decision makers to our frontline staff. Anybody and everybody can use it. So I love that. Let's see, resource with my colleagues later today, David. I love that. Thank you so much. And let's see, plan a new workshop for grad students along these themes. Samantha, that's fantastic. Amazing. Becky, share with my own immediate team and incorporate it into our career ecosystem project college-wide. I think that's the other thing, is that we have a lot of opportunity to take these messages and share it in a wider level with larger people through the resources we're already using and the programs we already have. So we love that. Become familiar with the document. Yes, most definitely. We want to be able to take the language that we've had in this and make it our own, add our own stories to it, build value from that perspective. So amazing. Okay, keep these comments coming. I absolutely love it. We've got 4 more minutes. So just as you're continuing to share this, what I would love to do is share a few additional resources just as next steps that are courtesy of CERIC. The amazing thing is everything we're sharing with you today is all free. So first of all, if you haven't had a chance yet, make sure that you download this Meet the Moment document. As you can see, right, these are talking points. We are trusted experts for a changing world of work. We are your economic safety net in uncertain times. We help you navigate uncertainty with confidence. These messages are more important right now than ever before, and that's why the timing of this is so critical. We're meeting the moment with the work that we do. Championing decent work, not just any work, especially in the world of AI. It's such a critical message. Now, some additional resources we have. There's one that we have called Beyond Decent Work Playbook. So this is something where you can be part of a national campaign to advocate for career development and achieve meaningful, equitable, high-quality work. You can download that here, ceric.ca/beyond decent. But wait, there's more. We have the Discover 10 Powerful Ways that Employers Can Team Up with Career Development Professionals. We saw that theme pop up in our conversations earlier today to tackle today's talent challenges and future-proof their workforce. It's a free resource again, ceric.ca/10 ways. And then next on the docket, there's my picture. You can see, but we had so much fun putting this program together. It's a media relations training program specifically made for career development professionals. It's absolutely free, courtesy of CERIC. So this is a course where you can go in and you can learn, how do you get yourself and your organization featured in the news? Take all of the great work you're doing, take all of this messaging, put it into a newsworthy package that the evening news, that the local papers, national papers are going to want to be interested in. So take a look at that. And just most importantly, stay connected. This hour goes by very, very quickly. If there's anything that you wanted to share, either in the Mentee or in the chat box and you haven't had a chance to, please do connect with CERIC on social media. We are here, we're listening. You can always go to the website and share your feedback there as well, and join our lists. Stay connected. Let's keep talking and let's build the value for career development professionals across Canada so that everybody knows all the amazing work that you're doing. So that gives me 1 minute. If there's any final thoughts you want to share here, we'll take the minute to do that. But I know a lot of people have to go. I want to say thank you on behalf of our CERIC team and myself. Really appreciate you joining us. Let's continue to meet this moment with these critical messages. Thank you so much.